Hey everybody. Yes, it's 5 o'clock on a Thursday. It is, the wrong month is up there. I think it's the 3rd. Tell me if it is. I think it's the 3rd. Could be the 4th. Tell me. It's the 3rd. I did find a calendar. Okay, it's the 3rd. It is a Thursday at 5 o'clock in the mountains here in Utah, and it is time for Buddy Chat. I have so much to go over today because we missed last week. I just feel like, there's dust on my cameras. It's been so long. I really feel bad. And I'm so happy to be back. But I tell you, I was able to go to an event at Hokema Sewing in Redding, California. And Christine and Hardy were so wonderful to work with. If you're here, chime in and say so. And I still don't. Oh, maybe I do. Hi, Heidi. Let me see if I can get this to work. Yep. Oh, Rhonda is here from Arkansas, and Heidi is here. Jan from Florida, Alice from Washington, and Paula. 112 degrees in Yuma. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts. And Mavis from Folsom, California, and I can see many of you are there, but until you say something, I don't know who you are. Come on, I'm saying something, right? I am saying that, oh, Sharon from Missouri. I am saying that Redding, California is a beautiful place to be. And doing that event was so much fun. We made projects, we ate food, we ate way too much food. Christine is an amazing cook, let me tell you. And we just had fun. And we bought machines. I tell you, these applaud machines are to die for. If you haven't sat at one, go to your dealer, sit at it. You are going to love it. And if you can come to an event, whether it be mine or someone else's, please come to an event. We're going to talk about those events in a minute because I've got quite a few coming up and I've got more in the pipeline that haven't gotten dates set yet. So we have more things on the horizon. If you want to see this event in your local quilting store, then let them know. Tell them to call me because I would love so much to visit every one of you. Love it so much. So let's see what we can do, okay? I know that we are going to be on November 5 and 6. We are going to be at Stony Brook. And I posted all of these on the Facebook a little while ago, but I'm going to go over them right now. Stony Brook in New Jersey. That is going to be a fun one. We're going to do applaud and triumph and victories and whatever else they want to bring out. We are going to sew on them and we're going to talk about them. We're going to learn about the machines and you are going to learn some new fun techniques that maybe you haven't tried. If you have a triumph, maybe you haven't tried that one. If you have an applaud, if you don't have an applaud, come and sit at it and try it. And I just talked to Elizabeth from Stony Brook yesterday, and she says that they are filling up, that they do have spots left, but please don't wait to the last minute because they do need to order machines in and order threads in so that they're there for you, okay? So make sure that you get on the list. It's going to be so much fun. And fun is the most important part. All right, and then on November 8th and 9th, so this is a quick turnaround. I might still have jet lag there. We're going to be at Wimmers in Layton, Utah, which isn't very far away from me, just down the street. Actually, it's an hour away. Big deal, right? Not like New Jersey. And then on November 20th and 21st, we are going to be at Denton Sewing Center in Denton, Texas. And it's going to be a nice one. So if you wanted to come to any of these events, please get signed up early because they do need to do some prep work for it. And I do need to make the kits. So please get signed up, get in there, and let's see if we can have some fun. And like I say, I'm talking to several other stores right now that are just trying to pick the date. We've got, oh, I don't think I mentioned this one, and I want to because I am going to also be, I want to make sure I get this one right. On December 5 and 6, I'm going to be at Oma Darling's. And that one is going to be in Kentucky. And I'm very excited to be there too. She is such a sweet little lady. Oma, I've known her for several years, and what a fun, sweet person she is. I really like her. And I'm just excited to be there. So if that one is on your agenda, if you're near that one, please come. Please come and try these new machines. Make some projects with me. You will not be disappointed. We're going to put a zipper in. We're going to bind it. We are going to do belt loops. We are going to do so much with this applaud. You will totally love it. Hi, Sally from Idaho. I would love to come to Idaho. That's not very far away from here. And Mary Jo from East Tennessee. Ooh, I'd like to come there. And Patty from Illinois. I am so glad you're here. Okay, so please, if you have a local dealer that you want to have this event in, let's get it in the books, okay? Because we're already booking, I think we're booking into March already right now. But we still have a couple of slots before the end of the year that are open. If you want to have something, let's put it together. All right. I almost forgot. Remember this? This was made on the Applaud, and we are going to have this class coming up in just a week and a half. It's going to be on, I have a hard time remembering what month it is because it just changed again. It's going to be October 16th. That's when this class is. So please, it's on the website if you want to sign up for it. We are going to make this, and I don't have my yarn right here handy. We're going to make this out of yarn. This is made out of yarn. This is not a faux fur. Excuse me. This is a yarn, and it is going to be so fun to make. You're going to learn a new technique. And yes, we are going to be making belt loop binders again. Let's see, we have a lining on the inside, and I've got a silk lining right there. And we're going to be putting the cute little tie on there. And then as soon as you get that done, you're going to have to go out on the town that night. It's going to be ready for you. All right, so that is on the 16th. If you cannot make it to that and you still want to make this, or maybe you haven't got your applaud yet and you're waiting for it to come in, sign up. If you can't watch it that day, it's going to be recorded. You'll still get the recording, and you will know everything you need to know to create this cute little bag. And it is soft and fuzzy. I love it. I love how it's kind of two-toned. I know in some of the pictures that we posted online, it looks purple. It is actually a blue. But some of the pictures do look purple, but it is really a fun one to make. Okay, any other questions or comments that you want to make? Oh, wow, there's lots of you here. Thank you for coming, and welcome, welcome. I know I wasn't here last week, was I? So you're not used to watching. Well, bring all your friends and family. Okay, so I want to talk about a question that somebody asked me. So let me bring you down here. We're going to talk about this foot right here. So I have 3 feet. So this is my standard foot. This is my quilt binding foot. And this is my edge joining foot. Now, I used to always join my edges and my bindings and everything I did. I used this foot. When I did top stitching, I used this foot. It's still a good foot. I will still do top stitching with it very often. It's the one I pull out. And a top stitching, it might be like this. So if this were the edge of maybe a strap, I would line this little flange. This has a little flange right there underneath. If you can kind of see that. Let me move this. I'm not sure you can see that there. Do you see that flange? Let's focus in. Come on. Maybe it's not going to focus. Let me see if I can aim that up there right. It's not. Oh, there we go. See that little flange underneath? That little flange helps guide your fabric. So not unlike the edge, the 1/4 inch foot with a guide, this has a little flange in the center that will help you guide your fabric. Even though it's called an edge joining foot, it does join edges. So you could have 2 edges and put them together like this, and maybe you want to do a couching stitch over the top of both edges to connect them together. This would be the foot that you would use. You might think it's like a stitch in the ditch foot. It kind of is, but the flange is a little a different shape, and that's why this is called the edge joining foot. So if I had 2 fabrics, I would put it right down there. Where can I just have 2 fabrics? Come on. Okay. So if I had two fabrics and I wanted to join them together, I'll just pretend like these are two fabrics, then I would put it right in there like that. And then I would choose a couching stitch to go back and forth as I went down the seam. And you can see that once I couched, and it could be called a faggoting stitch, it could be called a lot of different things, a feather stitch, and that would connect these two fabrics together, and I would have one piece with a beautiful decorative stitch down between them. This probably would be two different fabrics rather than two the same. So that is what an edge joining foot is. But I also would use this to bind my quilts. All I would do is move my needle so it would be just inside that fold, and I will show you when I get over there. And then I would still do a top stitch. The problem was this little flange down here would sometimes get caught. And if I were doing a quilt that had pieces on it, if it was pieced, or if even my binding was pieced, or if I have to go over a bump, this is going to get caught. So that was always kind of a frustrating point for me. But I still like this foot. I still have several of them. So this is the standard foot. This one has nothing underneath. It's just nice and flat. And that is the one that I put my binding on with right here. So of course I've used very dark thread because I want you to see where I am. And so I would have run my foot right against the edge of the fabric and did a 1/4 inch stitch. So that's how I put my binding on. And this would be like if you were binding a quilt, you would do it just the same way. So nothing new, nothing different right there. But this is an important foot for that. Or you could use your 1/4 inch foot with a guide. I oftentimes just use this because I'm too lazy to go get it out of the box. All right, so here is the quilt binding foot. Some of you have asked, is the bi-level foot the same? It is not. And the difference is where this bi-level comes into play. See that right there? But right here, there is a way to do a stitch on the side of the leveling. So right there, there's the bi-level. So the bi-level foot does not have that extra space right there to do a stitch. So you could use the bi-level, you just have to be a little more creative with how you put your needle down. This one is already put together, so I've got it. I don't have to make any adjustments. And as you can see, the bi-level is right here where it's going to guide my fabric. And you can't even see it from the top. So right there is where it's going to be. And my needle is going to go in right here. And we'll do that at the machine so you can see how that works. So if I pull this around, what letter is this foot, Sally? The quilt binding foot does not have a letter. And the edge joining foot does not have a letter. The J foot does have a letter. So this one is the standard feet, the ones that come with your machine, oftentimes they do have letters, but these extra feet do not. So that they do not have letters, I'm sorry. I can get you the part number. I can post that right after we finish here. But I don't have it in front of me right now. But this quilt binding foot was a game changer to me. Remember how I told you this one has a little ridge right there? It would get caught on fabrics. And so I found myself having to raise my foot, put it back down, raise it, put it back down, so that I would uncatch this and it would go through smoothly. Well, I don't want you to have to deal with that. You can, and you can still do it, but it's just a little bit more work. If you put the quilt binding foot on here, you just easily run over them. See how that's got a little curve right there? See that? That is going to easily go over your corners, over your bumps, over anything. It is not going to be stopped at all. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. I'm also going to use my corners, my mitered corners, in conjunction, my quilt binding foot and my By Annie stiletto. All right, so if I were going to bring my binding over, if I were using my edge joining foot, I would put my needle just to the right of the flange, and I would pierce right there in the fold, and I would keep that fold and that flange right along that fold, and that way it is going to give me a beautiful top stitch, and it really is nice. But when I would get to the corner, let me get to the corner and show you how that works. So I'm going to bring it around. So this is how I'm going to do my stiletto. I would bring this around right here, and you can see that right there it's already going to get caught on the binding, go the other direction. That flange right there is going to get caught. If I have my quilt binding foot, I am going to have that little raised part right there ride right along my binding right there, and I'm going to have my needle fall just inside on the fold. So I'm going to run down here, and you'll notice right there it does not get stuck. I'm going to go right to the machine. I'm going to let you see how that works. All right, so I've got my stiletto in hand. I've got my quilt binding foot. I want you to notice too that this has a spring on it and this has a spring on it. I think we've talked about those springs, and those springs just mean that it's a leveling feature on this foot. Anytime you see a spring, and this can be on any brand of machine, it's not just Baby Lock. Anytime you have, like if you're going up over a hump somewhere, I don't know what it would be, maybe on your Levi's, and you've got to go up over a hump. When you go up over the hump, very little is going to be on your foot is going to be in contact with your feed dogs. Well, we want to change that because those feed dogs are there for a reason. So you're going to push in the spring, level your foot, and the spring will stay in. And you'll be able to sew across that bump. When it comes down the other side, that spring will pop out, and you'll be ready to just keep on sewing. You don't even have to do another thing after that. Just know that's why that leveling spring is there. Because we know that when we do bindings, sometimes we do have a little bit of a heavier part we have to go through. If you're finding that's an issue, then that leveling thing really does help. Okay, let's go over to the machine. So I'm going to put my quilt binding foot on, and I'm going to have to keep my hand out of the way or else it will not focus. It's going to be a mess. I really wanted you to see how this works. So I've got it in close. So, and I'm using that darker thread. So it's going to really show up. And I'm putting the fabric, the fold of the fabric, this is my quilt, right there along the raised part in the foot. Let me see if I can turn this so you can see. I know that when I put my hands in there to sew, it's all going to go crazy. So we're going to do the best we can. And can you see how that fabric, the fold of the fabric, I'll move my hand out of the way. I'm not going to be able to use my hands. That means this is really going to be crazy. But I mean, just touch that because it wants to focus on whatever's closer. So you can see that the fold of the fabric is touching or riding along the raised part in the foot, right? Okay, so that's where it's going to stay. I'm going to make sure it stays that way. So when I stitch, I'm going to move my needle over a little bit. And this is a trial and error until you figure out where you want that to be. And I'm not at an angle to see it really well. So I'm just guessing. And if I guess wrong, then that's okay. You're going to say that's all right. All right, so I'm going to try to sew without losing focus here, and it might be a little crazy. Let me move it, and I can move the camera a little bit. Okay, maybe that's a pretty good angle. All right, so we're going to stitch down, and I want to show you how to do the corner. So my stitch may not be right on the edge, but please forgive me for that, and we'll just go with it, okay? Otherwise, I'd have to move it, and you wouldn't be able to see anything. Just try to get the technique down. By the way, I do have a video of this on my YouTube channel, and I can definitely put a link to that. All right, when I get close, let me get a little bit closer. Okay, and my stitching is probably not going to be straight either. Okay, so when I'm about a 1/2 inch away, I'm going to take my stiletto, and I'm going to run it just like that. And when I do that, without getting in your way. Do you see how it's going to make a mitered corner right there? Now, because I'm trying to do this at an angle away from the camera so you can see, it's not going to be beautiful here, but you just know that yours is going to be beautiful. All right, now notice that that foot does not even hesitate as it goes up over the other side. That's what I love about it. One more stitch. Now I'm going to turn it, and that puts me in the perfect position to go down the other side. If you have any questions, please let me know. I know that maybe I'm in your way a little bit, and I apologize for that. But okay, see now right there, I am ready to roll again. I'm going to move my hand out of the way, and that means I'm going to be sewing blind here. But you see how that fold stays right with the raised part in that foot. That's what makes this foot so wonderful. All right, so once again, I'm getting close to the edge, to the corner. And so now I'm going to just turn that over. So I've just got it I'm just holding it. But then I'm going to take my stiletto. And the reason I like to have the By Annie stiletto is that it's textured. This tip is textured. It's not, it's very pointed, but it's not slick. If it were slick and I wanted to move this fabric, it would just poke right through. So this is why I like this one. So I can actually move fabric as I need to. But right now I'm going to make my corner. So I'm going to fold it up with my hand, my left hand, and I'm going to slide it along. And when I slide it along, it automatically makes that mitered corner. Now normally, if you weren't trying to see this, I would hold it with my finger as I stitched it or get it in the right spot. So this is not going to be a perfect because I can't do it with the camera there. But just know the technique. All right. So now I'm going to oh, looks right there. That did pull it up because I probably don't have my fingers in the right spot. And when I've got that, I turn it around and I stitch down. And you can go so fast with this. I can bind a quilt from cutting it, and this is a big quilt, from cutting the binding, to putting the binding together, to ironing the binding, to putting it on my quilt, and with beautiful corners in 1 hour. I can do that. I can do that with this quilt binding foot. All right, so here we have what it's going to look like. Let me see if I can pull that down a little bit more. Let's see if that makes it so you can see it a little bit better. All right, so right here, we went down this edge with the quilt binding foot, and we did not catch this. Right here, it caught it a little bit, but it was probably because I was not in the right angle for me to stitch it. I mean, I'm trying to sew it and keep my hands out of the way so you can see it. But it right there is just going to do a perfect top stitch. You see how that just kind of keeps it right in the right spot? If I had the right color of thread, you wouldn't even see that stitch. And then of course I create my mitered corner and I stitch around it, and then I come down this side and there I go. Does anybody have any questions? I think we've covered this a couple of times before, but I don't think you can ever see this enough. Also in my bobbin, if I were binding this, if this were an actual quilt, I would have invisible thread in my bobbin. That way, because you can't control what's going on the back. There's no way you can't see it. You're going to do your best, but you can't control it, correct? So I use invisible thread, and you can't even see where I've stitched. On this one, you can see because it's black. But invisible thread, you might see a needle hole once in a while, but you're not going to see the stitch. And it's going to look great. I am not one that likes to bind my quilts by hand. I'd be doing it all day long. And I would not like it. I think they're beautiful, but I want quilts that I can wash over and over again. This I'm going to be able to wash over. If I were doing it as a beautiful masterpiece quilt that I want to show off all the time, maybe hang it up, then I would do it by hand. But this way I'm not going to. All right, someone did ask, when you put the binding on, which is the front and which is the back? Well, because I want my pretty side to be on the front, I want my perfect top stitching to be on the front, I am going to put my binding to the back, bring it to the front to stitch it down. I know if you're doing it by hand, you would do it the opposite way. You would put it on the front, pull it to the back, and hand stitch it down. But I don't do that. Life is too short. I got quilts to make. I got projects to do. I can't be sitting there. Some of you like to hand sew. I do not like to hand sew. If I can get away without doing it, I'm not going to. Okay, Mary Jo says, thank you for posting how to turn the corner. I have a quilt binding foot and I haven't used it. I didn't know how to turn the corner. Well, there you go. That is a corner turned. And if you have a machine that has the automatic foot up, foot down, where I just leave mine on all the time. It's very rare that I turn that off, so that when I take my foot off the gas, my foot raises. That's what I like to do. So if I ever get in a part that I need to have a little bit more room, then I just take my foot off the gas. It raises it up. I can resituate that fabric. And I've got a beautiful binding. Too bad this isn't a big one, huh? Paula, we do have a tutorial on all the Triumph feet. It's actually a class. It's a workshop on my website. I will post a link to that. Okay, stop that. Okay, so I will post a link to that. And I will also post a link to the YouTube channel, so you can go on there. You can watch a lot of the videos that I have that I've posted anywhere else. They're going to be there. And I do have one on the quilt binding with the quilt binding foot and the stiletto. So if you want to see how that's done, you can always go in there and check it out. Sometimes on Facebook, it's kind of difficult to search to find something that you want. If you don't get to see it that day, and if you don't go back and watch it, then sometimes you just kind of miss it, right? On YouTube, you can search. You can, because there's little titles there, you can go through and you can find probably what you're looking for. All right, any other questions that you might have? I know, you're all going to sign up for this. I would like to know how many people have, in fact, I think I'll do a poll. And you don't need to say your name if you don't want to, but I would like to know how many people have already purchased the Applaud and have it in their home. Or maybe you've just purchased it and it hasn't come yet. I just want to know how many people, because I think this machine is going to be the one. This is the machine that is so different that everybody is going to want it. I know that I did when actually, let me tell you, when they told me, when I went back for training and they told me, oh yeah, well, they didn't tell us, but I knew that it was a serger. And I thought, I have the Triumph. I don't need another serger. My machine does everything I wanted to do. I couldn't imagine having anything more than the machine I had. I just couldn't even imagine. Until, even when they took the cover off, I thought, oh, okay. They had them all covered up. It was secret. I thought, okay, that's a great machine. But do I need it? No, I don't need it. So I thought, okay, I'll learn it so I can teach it, but I don't need one because I have the Triumph. I tell you, I have the Applaud and the Triumph set up side by side, and I use them both all the time. In fact, I sit up nights trying to think of what can I make with the Applaud and the Triumph today? What's another way I could use that? Because I love it so much. In fact, we were only in training for a day. And it wasn't just a few minutes into the training that I said, okay, I've got to have this. I said, order me one now. And so they did. They got me one ordered. I love it so much. If you have not seen it run, if you have no idea what it does, then you've got to see it. And if you are anywhere near to come to one of the Applaud events that I have going, I would love to have you come and tell me that you're in my Facebook group. When I was in Hokema just last week, I had several people that were right here in this group, and they came to the event, and yes, they got machines. I love it. I love it. And I had several people that now are in the group because they bought a machine that weekend. And it is so fun. Does anybody have any other questions? Do you have a machine? I would like to know how many people have purchased the Applaud. I have seen so many people say, I'm getting mine next week, or mine's coming in. It makes me so happy because this is a game changer for me. I think it is so fun, totally different than anything you've ever seen. Okay, well, that's a breathful. I've gone over lots of things. We've talked about that quilt binding foot. I hope that you run out and get yours or get it out of the box and use it, because it is an amazing foot. I'm kind of a gadget girl. If I find something that makes my life easier, I want it. And which is why I machine bind. I have to, because it makes my life easier. Which is why I have the quilt binding foot, because it makes my life easier. Why not? I don't mix bread and knead it by hand anymore. I have me a Bosch mixer. Why not? And I do peel my potatoes one potato at a time. I can't think of how another I can do it. But you know, if you've got a gadget that helps your life and makes it easier and really makes it more beautiful, because this does, that foot makes that stitch perfect. In fact, I made a bag once and the lady said to me, how do you get your stitches so beautiful and so perfect and so even? The whole reason is, at that time, I was using the edge joining foot to do all my top stitching. But even if I were making a bag, if I had to go over a lot of layers, remember I told you this flange gets caught, I would be using my quilt binding foot. And then it doesn't just have to be for quilts. It can be for anything that you're wanting to do. And if you notice, you have a stitching area all around. It's a 7mm area to stitch in. And that will allow you to stitch on both sides of the fold or wherever you want to be. So no matter where you want that stitch to land, this could be the answer to what you need, because this will glide along. It's going to be beautiful. So I would love to see some ways that you have used the quilt binding foot. If you want to post a picture, put it up there and say, here's my quilt binding foot and this is what I did with it. Even if it's not a quilt, it can be anything. It can be a tabletop or a placemat. It can be a bib, an apron. I can think of so many different ways that I can use my quilt binding foot. Anytime I want a straight top stitch, that's what I'm going to do. One of these feet is going to be the perfect foot, the edge joining foot and the quilt binding foot. There you go. I love them both. Okay. Oh, I don't see any questions, anything more. I think we went over everything that you need. Okay, so I will post a link to my YouTube channel. I will post a link to the Triumph foot class. And in that foot class, there are 29 feet and attachments. They're not all feet, but the attachments, we kind of lump them all together. If you have that foot kit and you want to learn about all the attachments, in this class, we go over every single attachment. So you can make a little sample and put it in your sample book. Or I think you've seen how I have sewn mine together. So I have all my samples all together and I have them labeled so I know what each one looks like. That way I know if I want to use it or not. Maybe I'll forget what that stitch looks like with that attachment or that foot, and I just need a refresher. Or you can put it in a binder, in a plastic sleeve, then you've got your samples right there. And you'll know, you can flip through that sleeved book and you can just know exactly what you're going to do. And you might have a project and say, I want to use this double bias binding foot attachment, excuse me. I want to use the double bias binding attachment. What does that look like when I'm done? So you pull out your sample and say, oh, okay, that's what it looks like. That will work for this project. That's exactly what I'm looking for. There you go. You got her done. That's what I would do. And I would definitely go through every single foot to know that you know how to use it. I mean, you bought it and you paid a lot of money for that foot kit. Even on the sewing and on your Applaud and on your Triumph, you paid a lot of money for those foot kits, right? Make sure you know how to use them. So that when you have a way, the gadget, remember the gadget girl, if you can find a way to make it easier, why not? All right, so I have a class actually on the sewing feet, and I have one on the serging feet. And the Applaud, if you have a Triumph, Keep all of those attachments because many of them are going to fit on the Applaud. So don't throw them away. Don't sell them. Don't sell your Triumph. Keep your Triumph. You're going to be so glad you did because you'll have them both right there. You can work together. Even though the Applaud does have the cover stitch and the chain stitch, there might be a time where you don't want to disturb what you have going, and yet you need to use maybe an overlock stitch. You got your Triumph. Use it. You're going to love it. All right. Mary Jo says, now that foot will finally have to come out of the package and she won't have to bind by hand. No, you won't. You are going to love it. And I want you to show us, Mary Jo, what you've made with it, because I can't imagine anything being not beautiful and perfect with that foot. Okay, everybody, our time is up. Don't forget, sign up for this class. It is going to be on October 16th, 10 o'clock Mountain Time. And if you can't watch it live, you can watch the recording and you'll still get everything you need out of it. And then be watching for events in your stores for the Applaud. And I hope it's me that gets to come and be in your event because I would love it. And we do make, depending on the store and what they want, 3 to 4 projects. And they are finished projects on these machines. And you will go home with them finished. You won't have to finish them at home. You'll take them home finished. You'll put a zipper in. You'll do ruffling. You'll do piping. You'll do belt loop binders. You'll do so many things. So many things. You'll love it. You really will. I want to see you there. And come tell me you're there when you get there, because I love to meet my people. And you're my people. You're my buddies. All right, everybody. I will see you. Let's see. Today is... Mary Jo said I will show it when I bind my quilt. Yay! I want to see it. I want to see it. I know that we're going to be in next week because I think we have Project on the 10s and we have a buddy chat next week. All right. And then very soon I'm going to be off on the road again. So we're going to be a little sporadic until the end of the year because we are doing a lot of events. And I'm so excited to come to your stores and do those events. I love it. I totally love it. So I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.